Backups on backups on backups, baby.
Man, I could feel that burp in my bones. Which burp? That one or the other one? Probably the other one. Hopefully you can feel that other one. Welcome. Here it goes. I'm going to hit the audio button in 3, 2... Hello, it's Let's Talk Comics. Oh, yay. This is the show where DJ and Sam talk about comic books. You know the drill.
You know the deal.
If you guys are part of the $15 tier, you heard me burp a bunch before we started, so that's what you're missing out on.
Congratulations.
That's your fucking loss. Can I brag about something for a second that
Yes.
has nothing to do with comic books, and I wish I had mentioned it on the other podcast
Yeah.
I've been trying to sell a goddamn air mattress for, 7 years, and I finally sold it last night.
Congratulations.
And this person picked it up at a street corner at 10:30 at night. I had my roommate come with me because I was scared I was going to get mugged. Very nice. Russian man came up, gave me $, and then he walked away, and I was like, this
Gave
feels
you
good.
$1, and then you're like, cool,
hey, man,
take this off my hands.
I'm very bad at haggling. He was like, I have this much money. I'm like, just fucking take the thing away from me. I don't care.
I'm also bad at haggling. Why is that? Why are we bad at haggling?
I usually go about, I'll say my price, and like, well, we have this much. I'm like, okay.
Because I want to be, I want to be more assertive.
You know what I heard? Here's the system for you. Maybe you can try this out at a local comic book shop. Bringing it back around.
Yeah.
They say whenever you go into like a negotiation, like buying a car,
Yeah.
bring a jacket with you, regardless of the temperature outside, because you can come in, you can have it with you, take it off when you come in and sit down.
Yeah.
And so when they start talking about prices and like, actually, we can only really do this, and you're like, well, hope you have a good day. And if you start picking up your jacket and putting it on, it could maybe signal to them that you're like gonna, or like besides the fact that it looks like you're leaving, they're like, okay, hold on, let's keep talking. And then somebody described like keep just doing that throughout, like when you get to a point where it's like I can't, like you don't want to pay that price point. And I hear it and I'm like, I understand what you're doing. I don't know if I could do that.
And also, just offer me the price that you're gonna cost you to give me the car. I don't want to have to work for it. Just say this is the price. And
well, they want money though.
Yeah, I know, but want the right amount of money.
No,
because there was actually
know that they're gonna ask for more.
I think it was in Blink, one of Malcolm Gladwell's books. He talked about how
you said Blink, but I heard Click, so I'm gonna imagine you're talking about Click.
Okay, cool. Malcolm Gladwell talked about the idea. He talked about a car salesman who would just. There was no haggling. There was no discounts. This is the price the car cost. And he did that because statistically, when it comes to higher priced cars and haggling, poor people were worse affected. They felt less comfortable with haggling. And they took the brunt of the cost that was allowed to drop the prices for other customers. And since he saw that was disproportionately affecting poor people in his community, no haggling, this is the price of the car, the end. And it's like, yeah, do that.
Mm-hmm. Here's a counterpoint.
Yes.
Adam Sandler in Click accidentally skips over his daughter's birthday and ends up being an 80-year-old man with a lot of mistakes. But his remote control can change the color of his skin. So maybe there's a room in there for him to do a little bit of a Get Out type situation.
There you go.
But we never explored that. But
comic books.
But we did get to explore a lot in Immortal Hulk number issue 23 this week.
23.
Number issue 23.
So here's the 3 comics I read prior to this.
Let's go through the. Did you do different companies or you one company? Which
I did. So DC, I did Doomsday Clock and Millennium, the New Legion of Superheroes.
I liked one more than the other.
And then in Marvel, I read House of X.
Okay, so those are big boys.
Yeah.
Let's start with that Marvel because I want to save Doomsday Clock for the end.
Gotcha.
Marvel House of X. So we're getting this is in present day.
Sure.
As far as we know.
This is a present day. They're clones,
with our
right?
team. I mean, in the first issue, you saw a bunch of gooey babies
They're
coming
clones.
out. And one of them had the Cyclops eyes.
They're clones.
So
they have to be.
So we see our heroes go off to try to break the master mold.
Yeah, mother mold.
Mother mold that makes master mold.
Yes. Yep.
Couldn't follow that one. But and they're gonna throw it in the sun, and everybody dies.
Dude, you know the one that got me? Nightcrawler getting scorched immediately. Yeah, the way that was depicted.
Because of course I forgot, because it was like I thought he was just gonna freeze to death, but I'm like, no, he's in front of the sun.
Yeah, I had forgotten that as well. That was crazy. One of the coolest Wolverine deaths. Like, just epic, just like cool. I kind of also, I like the way Cyclops went out because of the way we set up the woman that took him out in the issue before with her husband and everything. And when he's like, Gene, I'm not going to make it. Yeah, man, I liked it, except for the fact it doesn't feel like it means anything.
No, but I like where we have Charles Xavier by the end of it, because it feels like, so what we've said so far, this is probably an alternate timeline, probably, or clones. Or probably, because we've done both. The X-Men have done literally everything. So, and this has been a culmination of everything X-Men related. Yeah. Also, I really like that they called her the Pretender, Wanda Maximoff. Yeah. Because like, okay, we're settling that she's not a mutant. Fine, let's move forward.
Or even if it's open enough that you could just say that's what they label her
as the Pretender,
because she
annihilated a lot of X people.
Yeah.
And she didn't kill them. She just took away
their abilities,
and that takes away their heritage. It takes away what makes them who they are.
Yeah. Might be a little less bad than Genosha, but not numbers-wise.
Because that's Grant Morrison, right?
Yeah.
18 million. And the humans think they're good guys.
Yeah.
No, but we had to do that.
Because they look scary.
They look scary. See, there's the racism. There's the
sometimes, unless you're talking about like Emma Frost or Cyclops or Wolverine.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler, even, really, for being honest, he's still a handsome boy, even though he's blue.
Yeah, German, and every American gets a little nervous with his German accent.
Beak is scary looking. Goop guy with his organs floating around, he's scary looking.
Dupe, I don't know what his deal is.
Yeah, nobody knows what Dupe's deal is.
One person walks around with a dragon. That's pretty dangerous. Yeah. Anyways, so I'm guessing this is either an alt timeline. I think I'm going to lean into alt timeline. I know we've seen clones come out of their little eggs.
Yeah.
Like, that's where clones come from. They come out of their eggs.
Yeah.
And Professor X being like really like feminine and like kind of moving around like Voldemort does with his wand. He's like, it's all like this like, and you're like, okay, whatever, man. I can't fucking follow what's happening anymore. I think it's gonna be an alt timeline that leads us to present day X-Men regular boys girls, but they've been through they've lived through all the other X-Men shit. But now we're able to have a slightly bright, not totally apocalyptic future for our characters.
It'd be interesting if, because when when Moira, who's kind of the fulcrum for this whole series, talks to Destiny in Powers of X 2, still one of my favorite scenes, she says you have 10, maybe 11 lives. And we've seen 10, and we've all assumed 10 because X is the main one. But maybe 10, because we've seen that she gets all the data from 9, which is Apocalypse life, and takes that into her next life. And so maybe that leads to this, which is also a big fuck up. And so maybe whatever happens in 10 erases her memories of all of that. And that's why Life 11 kind of plays out haphazardly. Because again, going back to the idea that not only did she know everything, but she told Professor X, who told Magneto, so they all three knew. Don't know if that tracks. There is, on the timeline, it does say there's a schism between the three of them, so maybe, but like,
I'm buying enough of it so far.
Yeah.
But we were talking about this. If you guys were watching our podcast live, we had John Drew. I've been saying his name wrong for a long time.
Yeah.
Then I said my name wrong, and he learned it wrong. I'm like, fuck, he's going to call me Sam Bashur. God damn it. God damn it, he learned it the wrong way. And we were talking about like that it doesn't feel like an X-Men book. It feels like someone who studied the X-Men and then is writing about the X-Men. But the characters happen to be in it, so you're like, it's like they're all studying themselves and talking about it, which in a way, that's what it is. Yeah. It is a look back at everything that's happened. It's giving them a thumbs up that, yes, this all happened in some shape or form.
Yeah.
But we want to improve upon it. But no one's acting like themselves, and no one's acting like people right now. They're acting like whatever. They're just serviceable to the story. So I'm waiting for it to kind of like coalesce into something that makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah.
And we're close. A lot of it is starting to line up, and you're like, okay, this is this timeline. This is the lesson we learned from here. And yeah, let's bring it home. Let's bring it back around. You thought Cardinal and the magic Colossus girl meant anything? They didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't mean dick to what's happening.
That we know of yet.
Zorn fucking annihilated the whole planet.
That was pretty cool. There's cool moments, and I think there's cool moments in this issue when they're as like a way out for these. Oh, even Angel and Husk immediately are dead, like before anything goes down.
What's Husk?
Husk is, I believe, the sister of Cannonball, and she can take off her skin, and there's like gold or some other hard surface beneath, and then that comes off and her skin's there. That kind of a thing. There's always like a husk.
Yuck.
Yeah.
That's a yuck.
A lot of the Generation skin is really weird. Those all Generation X characters.
Yeah.
Chamber, who blew off his chest, so now it's just like psionic energy, just like shooting out of his chest.
I'm actually feeling a little sick.
Yeah, a lot of the Generation X characters had it tough, except for Jubilee.
Yeah, she's okay.
Oh, Danny Ann points out in the chat, Nimrod was well written in Powers of X. I will say, a little, his jokiness felt a little like, why is this guy cracking wise?
Yeah.
I mean, not that it's not funny and interesting and makes him kind of engaging, but it just feels a little like, what's Robot Dude over here with the jokes?
Since I didn't know what Nimrod was or anything before this. Actually the comic did a good job explaining why he is so scary,
Yeah.
and probably in other stories he's been more threatening. He hasn't been threatening so far. I just understand what the threat implicates.
From what I understood of Nimrod, I know Nimrod has always been supposed to be the Sentinel, but he's just like one of the, like if you list off X-Men villains, it's like Magneto, Apocalypse, Mr. Sinister. Nimrod, I understand, but he's never been that top thing. It's like in this series, it's like no, Nimrod's the thing.
Yeah. You need like if we're taking AI seriously, he is the be all end all, and there's not really much you can do once you get to that point.
Also,
which they showed.
Mother Mold shit at the end was like, oh yeah, we both humans and mutants are kind of suck, and we're gonna take all. It's like, yeah, thank God you guys are taking this thing out.
Y'all don't know. You should somehow figure out how to have Moira tell you,
Yeah.
because you could learn from the mistakes. But hey, it's a tough go of it. Right now, we're going to be going back. So this was House of X. We're going to do another power. Wait, so they did that weird alternating 2 Powers of X, now 2 Houses of X. So now we're going back to alternating.
Yeah.
And Powers of X is next. You know what? I am going to read the end of this series.
Well, there's only 4 more issues left.
Yeah.
It's been trucking because it's once a week, so it's like,
It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
And also the art style has been consistent.
yeah.
All of the information they've taught so far is really cool. And Krakoa being like seeds you can plant, you can teleport all over the place. Super cool, man. Like
Yeah.
world building wise, this is dope, and I'm on board with it. Also, even though yes, he looks like the Maker, I like the idea that you condense down what Cerebro was, and he wears it. I think
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
I like that too.
Even though Professor X was iconically like bald white guy wheelchair.
Yeah.
I like the reimagining him as this. That like, yes, he is kind of threatening, but I like the idea that all the X-Men are like, you're a little scared by them. You're like it kind of, I don't know, with that reimagining I'm on board with and I'm appreciating. Hopefully by the end of this we get to something cool. I kind of wish Jean Grey was still wearing her blue and red outfit because she's looking like a teenager.
Yeah,
even though she's 30.
I'm kind of hoping that maybe these are clones from throughout time, which is why the different costumes and everything. And hope we get kind of a more. I'm excited for a more cohesive vision of an X-Men team coming out of this.
Yeah, maybe. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
That'd be weird.
Which what?
The clones
Yeah.
of, but like, so Moira's experienced those people,
Yeah.
and then Professor X took those memories of what those people were like, and then put them into clones of those people.
Yeah.
That's confusing.
Yeah. Well,
Don't worry,
I mean,
don't worry. We consolidated everything in the X-Men line, but I could see that happening too. You know what? Also, okay, so that's Marvel.
Yeah.
And actually, I'll go ahead and pull up some thoughts on House of X, because I know Danny M is a fan of it. X-Men, hell yeah. Remember when Cyclops tricked the Sentinels into flying into the sun because the sun's radiation was the cause of the humans mutating into mutants? Nope.
No,
But
I don't
boy,
remember
howdy.
that.
That sounds like some X-Men bullshit. I'm going to go ahead and read your guys' thoughts on House of X. Let's go ahead and move over to DC.
Yeah.
Millennium.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be like a new series or something like that.
No, 2-issue setup for Legion.
Oh, so there's another one coming out.
Yes.
So I'm going to be honest. Rose and Thorn are not my favorite. They are
Agreed.
They're pretty boring as characters because their power is they're super strong, and now we know that they don't die. And now that what is happening in this book is like she's just experiencing all of DC history.
Yeah.
With a character we just met in a different comic. We don't really know anything about her.
No, Rose and Thorn's been around for a while.
Really?
Yeah, she was around when I was coming up. Yeah, no, like they make the joke she was Harley Quinn before Harley Quinn. Obviously they've been talking about, there's a character that basically travels to the future the long way. And who could that be and all that stuff. I'm like, oh, who's this character? And then it's Rose and Thorn. You're like, Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like no one with like a really cool power.
Yeah. Okay.
By the way, Danny M says House of M No More, the end of that issue, is one of his favorite moments in comics, and it was a pretty cool moment. Just want to read that.
But yeah, so I liked it overall. It was really cool. My favorite part was the Batman Beyond segment, just because I like Dustin Nguyen's art, and I read. I can hear Will Friedle's voice when I read Terry. You know what I mean? And so that was cool. I'm interested to see. I like this idea of connecting the disparate
Future
DC
timelines.
futures. Although I will say again, Electric Warriors already kind of did that.
Yeah.
Because it takes place post Command era, pre Legion era.
Oh,
so it's right
okay.
when the humans are kind of like coming back, but they still share the world with the intelligent animals. It is pretty effective in that stuff. So kind of already did it there. And again, like you said, Rose and Thorn isn't like, oh snap, it's them.
Supermac was a fan of Rose and Thorn being used, which is cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Is she time traveling or just living forever? It seems like she's been living all this time, but she seems so confused by every era she encounters. Yeah, it doesn't seem like she's actively participating in what's happening. It seems like she's dropped in. Like the last era, where it is like the Legion era, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
The Planeteers.
No. This is Planeteers. They dropped a little bit. This I am the least informed on. They touched on the Planeteers a little bit in the new Super Adventures of Super Sons run.
Okay.
That's another Tommy Tomorrow, the Planeteers. That's another alternate future, but like I literally just hit my radar because of the Tommy Tomorrow stuff and Adventures of Super Sons.
So
And I think she's not on Earth anymore, which is
Okay.
why she's confused.
Yeah, but like it looks like she just appeared. It's just like a lot of even the Commandy stuff, like finding Superman's costume and stuff. It's like it all kind of felt like she's being dropped into these situations, which didn't make a lot of sense because she's like, no, I was hiding out in like Canada for like a long time.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know I wasn't aging or whatever. Like, yeah, my husband died like 3,000 years ago, but I'm like, I just don't like know, and like it's like wait, so Bruce Wayne is all dead or alive now, and the Batman Beyond story is DC history.
Yeah.
I thought it was another universe.
I mean, yes and no. The animated version is, but Batman Beyond, the Batman Beyond comic is a part of DC continuity.
Gotcha. Well, I know in like Multiversity, the Batman Beyond show exists as its own universe
That sounds about right.
because that was one of the worlds because they show like old Superman and like their Green Lantern and all the other stuff. But the comic right now is not what that is.
Well, I mean, it might be. It's just the history is the. Listen, man, I don't know.
You're supposed to
Listen,
know.
man, I don't know.
You're supposed to
All
know.
I know is it's technically like a part of continuity, and she's experiencing the time linearly, and it sounds like a real nightmare.
Well, what the hell am I reading here? Danny M says, I hope after Bendis someone writes him to make him young again. Oh, okay, this is what Danny's hope is for Jonathan Kent.
Yeah.
And I thought the quote was, due to him being back in the correct time, Jonathan will gradually de-age to his normal age. I'm like, nothing against you, Danny. That's fine, because I like young John too. I was like, wait, that's super confusing.
I do like that they've made, because I thought this was kind of a way to write him off, but it's not. They super abruptly they made him the reason the Legion exists. And
Superboy is the reason that the Legion exists. It's not Superman who goes off with them. It's
that
Superboy.
issue was kind of clunky, but I'm excited for
Yes, it was.
but I'm excited for him to be a part
Everyone
of the Legion.
knows this big war's happening, right? It's like, no. You mean the people hunting down Jor-El? Who
Yeah.
cares? Throw him in a fucking meat grinder. Who gives a shit, man? Oh, but Jor-El's here. Yay. It's like, we mad
And
at him?
Rogolzar is actually Kryptonian.
Which that felt like that was going to happen.
Yeah. Anyway, but like Jonathan's gonna matter. I'm excited for him to be a part of the Legion. Superman got to hang out with his kid for about 10 years, and that's basically it. And
Like most parents.
yeah, exactly. And
It's like sea turtles.
But I'm excited for that. I'm excited for all the Legion stuff, and I like the idea of going through this history. I don't know about you. The one that confused me the most was actually the Commandi one, because like who was Commandi fighting, and then that whole setup with the way the art. I think it's Andrea Sorrentino. Tremendous artist.
Yep.
I could not follow what was happening, unfortunately. But I'm excited for the next issue, and I'm excited for Legion.
Yeah, I'm excited for Legion too, and Superboy being a part of it's really cool. Like he is the main like through line for us as readers to understand all these new Legion characters, which will come to a question for Doomsday.
Yeah,
Clock
I have
11.
no idea how that's supposed to tie together.
Nope.
Just like with stuff with Wally in this issue, I was like, this was written a minute ago. I saw a thing that was like, why is it taking Jeff Johns so long to write Doomsday Clock?
No,
I don't think it's him.
He finished it in 2016.
Yeah, I think it's Gary Frank doing his tremendous, amazing art.
And he's working his ass off,
Yeah.
man. It's so hard. It is so difficult to pull off what he's pulling off. And it's all like, everything's dynamic. Everything's 9 fucking panels on a page. It's so hard. Anyways, but for the Millennium stuff, I was just like, I didn't like the way, I didn't like Rosenthorn, where it was not the character I wanted to be the person experiencing this
Who
stuff.
did you think it was going to be?
Honestly, I didn't know, but I didn't want them. I can say that much. I didn't want it to be them.
You definitely didn't even consider the possibility that it could be them.
No, didn't think that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that character has existed. I thought it was like a new Bendis thing. I'm like, man, it's a fucking boring character that you just created.
No,
You've done
she's
cooler
been
stuff.
around for a minute. What if it was the Question? Would that have been weird? Vic Sage is the Question?
Speaking of that, I did want to say that in Lois Lane, both Questions are in it.
Ooh, cool. I haven't read it. I obviously
pick it
have
up?
I picked it up, but I
Okay.
have not read it yet.
Also, there is a character that pops up at the end. I'm like, oh, this will be cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hang out with Lois. I think it'll be super cool. Also, there's a slight acknowledgement that there are 2 Questions
No.
in a cool way where it's just like, uh-oh.
It is
let's
tough.
see them hang out.
Yeah, because it's one of those like multiple Green Lanterns. That makes sense. It's a cop force. Like that makes sense. Flashes, I can accept that. But like the Question's so grounded. It's like it'd be like if there was 2 Daredevils running around. You're like, what? But and I like Vic Sage a lot. And Renee Montoya can just be Renee Montoya. Like she's great on Earth. She doesn't need to be the Question. That said,
She's
it's so
great as the
cool to
Question.
see her as the Question with Lois, specifically with Lois Lane. That's such a cool pairing that it's hard not to be like, oh, yeah, this is great.
Fanfic, LOL. Yeah, it feels like a fan. The Millennium stuff felt like a fanfic. But let's talk about Doomsday Clock 11.
Yes.
So in issue 10, if you can wind the clock back about 3 years when we read that issue, we had Dr. Manhattan explaining just his perception of the DC universe.
Yeah.
And it's really cool that he just wanted it to change a tiny little thing. And it fucking blew up, and because he doesn't, the way he perceives this universe is so strange, and he's able to see all of it all at once, which is so cool. And in this, we get to see like what Ozymandias's plans are, or what he's done so far, and how he's done it. And
a lot of exposition.
And it almost to its detriment a little bit, but at the same time, I think it was so well executed by Gary Frank and by Jeff Johns, writing wise. And I in this we get the end of Saturn Girl, which is in a cool way, where the way I interpreted it is that she's basically holding onto the memory that the Superman she met at one point would remember her, and her future will exist. It's not going to be erased, but her having to accept that because it's a metaverse, it doesn't work and behave like a universe does, which that's a cool idea. That since the idea of Superman it doesn't include her, she fades away. Yeah. And I think that's pretty cool. Why does the ring stay behind? I don't know. It's a hint and tease. And also Johnny Thunder, just like, Jesus Christ, man, this dude's like 102 and you punched him in the face. He should be dead right now. You punched him in the fucking face. He should be dead.
I liked for me, this was one of the weaker issues of Doomsday Clock because of the amount of exposition. Like I didn't need the whole like Ozymandias villain info dump thing. I did like the idea of the picture. I like the idea of the picture once you got into the back matter, and the idea that because once they list where he's finding them, it's like when he's altering stuff, he's just leaving this behind. You know what I mean?
This memory of himself, this imprint. Which it's cool that it's like, it's identical. And I like that Lex was the one that noticed it. Yeah, the smartest man on the planet. Yeah, he would notice it. And he was like, he happened to see Wally and Barry, and I thought that was kind of cool. And he was the one who got the Justice Society stuff because for some reason, John, Miss Dr. Manhattan, is like keeping remnants of these things around without him knowing. Yeah, super cool. And I like that he's telling Lois and Superman where he's like, hey, so this thing, I have no idea what, like, I literally don't know what we can do about it. And so, like, he's going to have to work with Superman for something like this. And the tease at the end with Dr. Manhattan full wang in front of the White House and Superman's there. I'm like, this is cool. Yeah. I'm very excited, especially since we got kind of all that stuff out of the way. I'm hoping a lot of the heavy lifting was this issue. And we get that kind of back to the more nuanced, character-based, emotional stuff of like the Dr. Manhattan issue. You know what I mean? Because that's I think for me the highlight of the series was that. So I'm excited to see because it's not going to be a fist fight between the two because it can't be, and it won't be. That's what they said it won't be. Maybe a punch is thrown. But like I think it's going to be more of them talking. And maybe the idea is that he's going to see the death of either Dr. Manhattan or the death of the universe, and maybe it's both. Because in the sense of that Dr. Manhattan doesn't die, because nothing ever ends. But at the same time, his influence that has been on the DC universe could end. And the universe that you know it is gone, and we're left with Scott Snyder's Justice League run, and you're like...
and Tom King's Heroes in Crisis.
No. They did say this, that the final fucking issue is supposed to come out in November. Like Gary Frank said that. He said it was slated for November. Like, this was slated to be done in 2018.
Yeah.
Just finish it. I know, and he's working so hard, and he's doing such an amazing job.
It's probably going to be an oversized issue.
That means I just want it to be done. I love that we focus on the Trinity in this. I like Superman going up against Black Adam. Super cool. Wonder Woman being taken by the Amazons. Like, hey, everything out there is fucked now. So you're coming back with us. I like that idea.
Putting you in your room.
And Batman stopping a nuclear launch. Fuck yeah, man. That's fucking Batman.
That's really cool.
And like he broke his hand as he was about to turn the thing. How did he fuck? I mean, it's Batman. How did he sneak in there? But it's Batman, so you get it.
He's got a tunnel leading right up in there.
I don't.
He went up his bat chute.
There you go. I know a lot of people are nervous about how they're going to wrap all this up, and I get it, But like, man, I'm digging all this. Also, they did the spin-off or the one shot for Deceased with Mr. Miracle, Big Barda. It's pretty cool. A lot of Justice League International characters.
That's kind of my overview of DC. So it's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah, it's a bummer because like Tom Taylor's done better.
Yeah,
and it's not bad. It's just like, feels very like someone explaining a story to you at a bar instead of you reading a story. It feels very like, like, what if, like, are they zombies? I'm like, we still don't really know. Doesn't matter. Like, they're murder things. And you're like, okay. It's a bummer because, like, the idea is fun, the anti-life equation being a part of it.
Yep.
And all, you should, when you get to this, like, offshoot, it's like, you get Mr. Terrific in there, and you get a lot of like smart characters from all the different corners of the DC universe. Like, okay, we have like 3 plans. We're gonna try all of them, and it's a one shot in the middle of the series. Of course, like this isn't gonna work, but it's so funny when they encounter it because you're just like, it's kind of like a Injustice where it's like the ending already, where it can't be good. So you get to have as much fun like fucking with these characters. But the more creative you are, it's not as fun to just like murder all of them. It's like get them to right at the point of when they could win, and then throw them down the toilet. And that's what this does. It's great. But gang, let us know what you're reading in the comments down below, because the Doomsday Clock 11 was a real treat. I'm glad it finally goddamn came out. Cam Sensa says, it was super solid. Now everything makes sense with Ozzy's plan. I'm kind of bummed because more and more DC is trying to bury the importance of this book. Bendis is bringing the Legion back and Snyder is bringing the JSA back, not Doomsday Clock. Super solid work and definitely is perfect writing, but the importance of it just doesn't feel like it'll affect anything. I think it's going to have an effect looking back on it, and the series is going to read really well in trade. Like
I think it's going to be a good standalone story of Superman and Dr. Manhattan stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like. Continuity stuff, just it is what it is, and in a few years it really doesn't matter. So what matters more is how well a story is able to stand on its own. And
I think this one's going to stand really well. I love the use of Black Adam in this because he's a murderer, a dictator, but he does care.
Yeah. He's like Magneto.
Magneto
cares about mutants. You know what I mean?
And he cares about, and in this, he cares about metahumans. Yeah. And I like the standoff with Superman where it's just like, the world's fucking falling apart and Superman's just trying to hold it together. And I love that they're like, this is not, we're never going to like lean into like real conspiracy theories. We're talking about Bigfoot and shit. But like, we're like, throughout history, sometimes a conspiracy theory has a little bit of truth to it. Yeah. But overall, it's exaggerated, but there is that little bit of truth. And in this, the Superman theory, it's mainly blown out of proportion, except for when we did do those things. Yeah. And you're like, and it's fucked, man. It's
even
all
Sam Lane is like, what if we tell them what we did do so they see it's not as bad as they think?
Yeah, it's like, no, you're fucked either way. So, anyways, let us know what you thought in the Discord. We have more content coming out soon, especially when it's the lead up to Crisis on Infinite Earths. So keep us posted on what you're reading, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.